I've seen this time and time again, where with the brands we work with, the ones that make it through and break through and start having pricing power and loyal fans are the ones that are able to infuse meaning within their brand, right? And their products go from like a price comparison commodity to actual objects of desire. Hello, and welcome back to the Right Hook podcast. In this episode, you have just me, and I want to show you 15 ways that you can steal from the storytelling masters to position your brand and deposition your competition. For the new friends here, this is the Right Hook Pod, where we share with you growth marketing tips and strategies for D2C brands, the in the trenches stuff that my team and our strategists use to grow and scale the brands that we work with. So I've seen this time and time again, where especially with the brands we work with, I see this time and time again, where the ones that make it through and break through and start having pricing power and loyal fans are the ones that are able to infuse meaning within their brand, right? And their products go from like a price comparison commodity to actual objects of desire. I think we have shown this time and time again with the drops playbook or the tease and drop playbook that we talked about across the different episodes. So much of the ability to break through and not just be yet another t-shirt, yet another pair of socks, or yet another product to another level really comes down to being able to imbue that meaning. To quote Al Rees from his book Positioning, positioning is not what you do to a product. Positioning is what you do in the mind of the prospect. To say another way, your vibe begets and attracts your tribe. So you can use these 15 ways, these 15 plot lines to create your vibe. And this can be at the campaign level, or this can be at the brand level. This can also be used for angles. So your brand, recently at Meta, I was part of a white paper where we're talking about cross-border trade. Here in Meta Australia, for example, we're talking about from Australia to the US to the UK to English-speaking countries or beyond, and also vice versa, because half of our team is here in Australia, the other half is over in the United States, North America in general. And so certain brands feel like they're locked into, say, an Aussie vibe and try to make it overseas and can't really break in there because they're still leading on that Aussie vibe. So point being, these plot lines can really have a lot of versatility so that there's still a mothership brand vibe, but also the campaigns can start penetrating and resonating with audiences in different pockets. So these plot lines really are about the audiences and resonating with them, not so much just getting stuck into a certain core, a certain pillar, where it is immovable, and then you have difficulty because it hinges too much on some type of local nature. So let's get into it. These 15 different plot lines, these 15 different ways can be broken down into 5 categories. The 5 categories are the call to greatness, us against them, leave normal behind, heart versus head, and symbols of status. Let's break each one down. I actually created a doc for you guys if you wanted to download it. Yes, you can see in here, it breaks all of it down, right? So there are 5 themes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and each of them would have different types of plot lines. The first one, let's jump in right there. The call to greatness. Call to greatness really is about pursuit, that theme. And there are 3 different plot lines in there: the quest, the adventure, and pursuit. So first one, let's talk about quest. Quest really, the vibe there really is about going on a journey, and usually as a group, right? If you think about quests and plot lines in movies or in books, Lord of the Rings, The Matrix, there's always a posse of people, right? Because we're stronger together. That's the vibe there. And to come together to slay some type of big dragon. And the focus here really is on the ongoing pursuit of that quest. And where you can win is to relate to the struggle, show them that they're not alone and that they're stronger together, and invite them to join people that relate to their struggles and want the same outcome as them. And your brand is the vehicle to take them into that direction, the quest that they want to go on and the outcome that they want to achieve. So this is really great for any type of self-development, cause-driven brands even, Fitness, weight loss is so natural and so obvious. Any type of skill learning, but then also communities, right? Let's give you an example. This one in here, a race against blindness, where there is a very, very clear mission, and it is inviting other people to join in that mission. And they use giveaways right in here to then be able to inspire that type of a sale, which then builds up, of course, revenue. They're a nonprofit, but it's not like they don't want to make any money. And they're going to beat blindness, and how we are going to do it. So you can see in here, it really inspires that type of quest of coming together, of slaying that dragon. We want to end childhood blindness, right? So another one in here would be Peloton. I think that's an obvious one. I don't need to show you the example, but Peloton really is about, it's not just a stationary bike that you shove in your home. It's a stationary bike with a screen. You can show up to different types of events, and everyone starts to feel a sense of togetherness. Now, say what you will about Peloton and the recent things that have happened to them, but that is the vibe that you're going for. Tony Robbins is also another one where if you look into the website, right, look at it's all quests. So many people coming together. Unleash the power within. Look at that. It's all about, and look at the wording too. It's very, very clear just from this core, stemming from this core, what the campaigns could look like, what the copy would look like, what the creative would look like. So if you have that type of clarity, that's where it becomes helpful. And that's where you go from just mere product to brand. I hope you're getting the idea here. And it will be a string that runs throughout all of it. Once that clarity is there, it grounds all the other pieces of the marketing. And great for communities too. So just a really quick plug here. We've got our community, which is also about a quest, the quest to break through 10K a month. We've got our mentorship program, DTC Dojo. If you think that you would like to be part of a community where you're all going on the quest together, with some Yodas and some guides along the way to help you slay your dragon and get to that next level, definitely check out D2C. get.righthookdigital.com/DTC Dojo. I'll make sure that we add the link into the show notes. All right, plug aside, let's get back to it. So first you got quest. Next one you have is adventure. Similar to the quest, but focused a lot more on the external physical journey. Think Patagonia, think GoPro, think even Red Bull when they had all those crazy extreme sport type of stunts. And those are the super obvious ones. I want to show you some non-obvious ones in here. This is a water bottle. A water bottle that if it was only on Amazon, it'd be compared to every other water bottle. Why do you always show up so quickly? I don't know what it is about websites that just pop. I want to be able to browse first, please. Okay, here we go. You'll notice in here, all of it revolves, all the imagery is about adventure. Everyone is outdoors, right? It's not for the gym. It's not for, it does not relate to any type of everyday living in the imagery in here. So they could have chosen to do that and have photos of the gym, people drinking water at work. You got to drink water everywhere. But this is the choice that they made here for Hydro Flask to be about being outdoors in nature, adventure. Yeah. Okay. So that's the adventure one. Next one is pursuit. Pursuit is all about the relentless chase. It never stops. The work is hard, but the customers do it anyway. So Rogue Fitness, anything to do with a performance-based niche, clearly sports, fitness, any type of ongoing nonstop weightlifting, going to the gym, any type of nonstop pursuit towards constantly wanting to be better. This is great in here. For this, I think very famously, the Nike Chase Your Greatness campaigns, which I've added a link into the doc if you want to download it. Again, it's in the show notes. Nike Greatness, Find Your Greatness campaigns are a really great example. And then also this one brand in here that we were very fortunate to be able to work with, Alpha Lion. Look at the title; it already says in here, like, "Be superhuman," right? And so much of their "Yes, I am in Australia," even though it's supplements and apparel. Again, if it was just on Amazon, it would just be like any other supplement, any other apparel. For them, they are all about, let's see, let's go to the About Us. They've spent the time. Look, they've even spent the time to share their story, and have a video talking about the story for 5 minutes, how the founders met and what the values are. And so much of it comes down to pursuit, right? Kaizen, just never ending improvement, no shortcuts, uh, down 9, up 10. The imagery, that they have on, and again, every other gym, I totally get it. Every other gym brand would probably have that same type of imagery because it fits. And then what they have done in the past is try to find new markets and weave in other plot lines that are non-obvious. One of them was, then being able to reach into non-gym goer markets and have other plot lines feed into that, which we'll talk about later. But those three plot lines wrap up the call to greatness. You've got your quest, your adventure, and your pursuit. Quest usually is internal, usually is about a group coming together, going on a quest, right? Adventure would be more external, so action based, going out into nature, into the unknown, into achieving new heights. Very much visual though. And then pursuit, is about chasing that type of going into the grind because you love it, right? And constantly chasing for that excellence, even though stuff is hard. These are the first three obvious ones for call to greatness. What I mean by obvious is the fact that I think just the theme itself, call to greatness, tells you about certain niches that you'll be able, that lend itself to that type of theme. But just because it's obvious doesn't mean that they can't use some of the other themes and some of the other plot lines. Let's go into those. The second one is Us Against Them. Us Against Them essentially pits a brand against the industry, against bad practices, against most competitors, against the incumbents. So we're a newer brand and we came in here to fix something because we noticed that stuff was broken, right? And within this theme, there are three plot lines: revenge, rivalry, and the underdog. And revenge, let's start there, does not sound as aggressive or as malicious as the word insinuates, right? Revenge essentially is one of to resist the norm, to challenge the status quo. We're here to make a difference. That's the vibe that we are providing. And the brand is the advocate for helping customers reclaim what's right, stick it to the man, right the wrongs, because life just doesn't have to be the way it is right now. You don't have to accept it, right? Let's take revenge on the workplace that is constantly stealing your time. Come to this yoga retreat. Let's take revenge on the industry bad practices. You should not have all these impurities in your skincare. Let's do something about that because you deserve better. So that's what the brand does. And you notice how it's the brand positioning itself as the vehicle for the customers and the consumers, right? And that can be a subtle little string theme that sits underneath different types of creative, different types of copy, and it doesn't have to be this full-on aggressive, screw them, angry, angry, angry. This plot line best suited for any type of industry disruptor. Anyone in fitness, take revenge on junk food, take revenge on bad sleep, take revenge on all those different types of things. Weight loss, of course, another one in there, really kind of sort of close to fitness, but not really. And then any cause-driven brands too. So let's show you some examples in here. So another brand that we were very fortunate to have been able to work with, and they managed to, congratulations, by the way, July, for securing this partnership with the Australian Olympic team. So let's look in here. Why July? We exist to bring better design and thinking around how we travel, right? You can focus on the parts of traveling that you love. The category is broken, which is very common in Silicon Valley and high-tech kind of circles. The industry is broken. We're here to fix it. And Richard and Ethan from July really did put in a lot of time and effort. We got to work with them from day zero of their D2C journey. And I got to hear about the manufacturing process and the sourcing process. They really did go in, got their hands dirty to be able to work on fixing this overpriced, short lifespan, low quality thing. And they're trying to take it to the big boys, right? So this is one example. I think this is a very interesting one too. Jones Road Beauty. Our story. Jones Road was founded by makeup artist Bobbi Brown on the philosophy that the world doesn't need more beauty products. It needs better beauty products. And talk about ultimate revenge story in the best way possible. Let's scroll down. Founder Bobbi Brown, she left Bobbi Brown Cosmetics, right? With one of the questions being, why can't I find makeup products that are both clean and high performance that don't sacrifice one for another? And that is the origin story of Jones Road, and then thrusts it forward. It's not splattered everywhere across the creative, but it's a really great place to start. And for any marketer to come in and go, oh, this is the ethos here. Let's figure out how we can use this and find resonance within the customer base. Of course, showcasing a product, showcasing the outcomes from something like beauty and skincare, to then be able to get to resonance, and then building a fan base, and of course elevating from just another makeup company to now one that has a lot of meaning behind it, where people might even get into arguments to go, I can't believe you use anything else. Why aren't you using Jones Road? And let me tell you more about it, right? Also really great for influencers to understand and read that and go, oh, I think I might know the style, the approach of my content for them now. It's not just, let me just talk about this one product itself, right? So that's revenge. You use this and focus on calling out bad practices of big players, calling out how customers just don't deserve this, they deserve better. Our brand is that better, right? Next one is rivalry. Be very careful about the rivalry plot line, because you are picking a head-on battle with the industry at large or directly another player. So this is, you're really focusing on the competitive edge and superiority that your brand has over the competitor, sometimes even very explicit call-outs. That's why you want to be careful. But there are some ways that you can make this fun and tongue-in-cheek. Most famously, I think, would be Wendy's. Wendy's Twitter is so famous for just roasting and roasting other brands. McDonald's are giving away free fries. That's cute. We've got free fries every Friday in the app all year long. And every time someone tweets at them about something, some other brand, they'll have some type of tongue-in-cheek way. Burger King to launch $5 value meal. Stop taking the concept of Biggie Bag and making it worse, right? So you'll notice that just this tongue-in-cheek piece of entertainment has gotten them quite a bit of a following. Even if you don't know of or never been to the US and had Wendy's food, just with something like this, you'll be able to then go, wait a second, I think Wendy's is a destination that we really want to show up at and go to. And again, with that tongue-in-cheek, you might then be able to identify or guess how it informs any creative that they might have, any copy that they might have, any angles that they might have. See where I'm going with this? Hopefully it's starting to stick now. Pepsi, of course, the Pepsi challenge, Pepsi versus Coke is another really great example. And Apple versus PC, by the way, there's only one right answer to that, but Apple versus PC, I think, is the most classic one that every single layperson would be able to relate to. The amount of arguments that I've witnessed or been part of around the Apple versus PC debate, argument, whatever you want to call it, is quite funny. just the sheer fact that there are people that are arguing about a computer, right? Okay, so that's rivalry. Let's go into underdog. The underdog plot really is about humble beginnings, rising against all odds, and getting to that next place, right? We believe that we deserve a shot. We believe that we deserve to be heard. We deserve to win. That's the essence of the underdog vibe. And the creative and the copy and the angle really should be around like stories of struggle and triumph. So it's that compare contrast. We went through struggle and now we're here, and the struggle becomes relatable then for the customer base. Um, Really great for up and comer brands, of course, and any brand that has customers who identify as the underdogs, the ones who deserve to be heard, to be seen, to be appreciated, to um, be have be perceived to have value in places where they might not be given those types of chances and have value, right? I think famously Gymshark has that type of resonance, especially the early messaging, where it's all about the founder with a sewing machine in Birmingham selling from a garage, or sewing in his garage and then selling at the markets, to where it is as it was growing. And another one in here that I can show you as an example, again, another brand, very fortunate that we were to be able to work with them. Uh, just look at that story. Bro, why does this always come up so quickly? All right, here we go. Since 2010, Jita has been synonymous with street and hip hop culture, putting community at the forefront. So they're calling out the fact that it's about community. Relentless determination to redefine what it means to be a successful brand. Let's scroll down a little bit more and you can see where for those there. GDUP is for those who have faced closed doors and dead ends, only to break their way into the building and take over. More than just clothing, it's a collective for those taking the road less traveled, or better yet, those who are carving their own path unapologetically. You give that to an influencer, to a new marketing director, to an agency, to anyone, and it just speaks volumes, right? Within the brand guide, if you gave that along with some visuals, along with, say, for example, a conversation or an interview to explain it even further, that becomes then so galvanizing and so clear to inform the creative, whether that's video, whether that's stills, and inform the product too. And it tells the customer exactly what they're opting into. And that's where you find the raving fans. And GDUP has gone bananas as a brand. So much kudos to them. So that's the underdog theme in here. And within the Notion doc that I share with you, there's also like a Harvard Business Review example that breaks down the underdog effect and how it's helpful. Just be careful with the us against them angle, especially if it's the smaller brand going up against the big players. Because if you're successful, you end up being a big player yourself, and you have to evolve across that time so it doesn't stick around forever. Okay. So that is theme number 2. Let's go to theme number 3. Leave normal behind. So leaving normal behind has, let's have a look in here. Leaving normal behind has 4 different plot lines: escape, metamorphosis, maturation, and discovery. So you're leaving something behind and you're moving into something better. That is the general gist of this theme. Let's start off with escape. Escapism, going to the movies, escapism from the unpleasant realities of life. And it doesn't have to be heartbreak or anything crazy like that. It can also be in the subtler stuff, right? Escape boring, escape mundane, escape inconvenient, escape uncertainty, escape stress. An oasis, a respite from that mundane world. Your brand provides that. That could be through like just entertainment, even on your organic posts, as a way to give people that escape, right? And the focus here on the messaging is to just juxtapose the mundane with the excitement, the thrill, the freedom, the relaxation, the escape part of what your brand provides. I think most famously, Airbnb position themselves as escaping hotels, the same old boring four walls, key cards, and all that, and start getting into um, accommodation experiences that are more unique, right? Go rent a castle to live in or a small little mobile home in a really cute location. So if you're in travel, you're in jewelry, self care, even intimate wear, right? Anything not, and also novel products or novel experiences that really lends this plot line really lends itself to that. So to escape the buttoned up nature and have buttoned up nature of like the professional workplace and come work here could be an angle that even like on the B2B side, workplaces could use, right? So anyway, let's show you some other ones. I think notable mention here, of course, would be something like the Udi, where you're just pretty much like, look at how fun all the different outfits are. You're really talk about escaping mundane, bright colors, fun patterns, everyone's smiling. You're not just stuck at home freezing your ass off with boring PJs. You are just really comfy as well as having fun. Let's look at Tentree. Another version of escape. You're escaping the concrete jungle, and all of the imagery is them being out in nature, right? So that type of breathe in, just a little escape from your, I mean, it's really unlikely that people are checking their Instagram where they're out in nature or on a hike or on an adventure. They're probably sitting there on the toilet or in their office, and being able to get exposed to something like this is like, ooh, look at this. This is that nice little escape from the moment that my physical reality is in, and be able to see images like that. So that's what I mean by using this plot to inspire thought, feeling, emotion uh, from your consumer, from your customer, and really imbue that into your product. Okay, so that's escape. I think it's a fairly obvious one. Metamorphosis, yet again, another fairly obvious one. It's shedding your old skin and moving into the new. Um, think every makeover movie ever made from Hollywood is stepping into that new you, new life, new reality. Uh, Metamorphosis is another one that's great for fitness, great for weight loss, great for self care, skin care, cosmetics and beauty, performance enhancement also, right? Because if you're going from, say, for example, not taking certain supplements and feeling a certain way, and then taking those supplements and living a new life, feeling better about yourself, that could be one too. And also just homeware, furniture, art pieces, maturing, transforming your home into one that's more livable or more mature. That's essentially the um, metamorphosis plotline. Now, this doesn't only have to happen there. If you Google, do Air Jordans make you jump higher? That itself can show you how a pair of shoes can make someone feel like an instant transformation to up their game. So don't lock yourselves in. For those of you guys that are not in the categories that I mentioned before, the niches that I mentioned before, don't lock yourself in there, right? Whether it's empirically provable or not that Air Jordans can actually make a human jump higher is almost irrelevant, because when you put those shoes on, you feel like you're a better basketballer. That's the point. Okay, let's talk about maturation. Maturation, different from transformation, because this is about growing up, being more mature, more sophisticated, the next phase in life, and positioning your brand as the perfect partner to accompany them into that growing up. And the struggles relate to their struggles of how letting go of their old life might not be easy, but the new life is welcoming them. I'm sure as you're listening to this or watching this, you'd probably be thinking about parenthood, for example, or anything to do with the parent life in general. School supplies, also career change niches, weddings, engagements, homemade furniture, and art also sits in here. Any type of brand that helps people transition through an old self, an old life, and grow up into a new life. This is it right here. Mercedes had a grow up campaign, which I think resonated with several people. Well, I think hundreds and thousands, millions of people. And also, just I gave you some examples of parenting brands, but I think you get the message here, and it really is about is it time to grow up, or what growing up feels like, what having your first baby feels like. Those types of evocative images um, goes into this maturation plotline. Okay, the final one for this theme is discovery. Discovery is for to leave that old mundane behind and just discover new things. So it's great for the people that love the excitement, consumers that love the excitement, discovering new stuff, pleasant surprises, and they love that thrill of variety and surprise. Um, as I'm saying this, your brain probably goes to the kind of themed subscription boxes where you set a theme, you enter a quiz, and people are the brand just ships you different type of stuff based on that theme. And as I'm talking about quizzes, I really do want to say that quizzes are great for this vibe, this plot line, because it helps you understand who the customer is, and then you're able to feed them the right type of discovery engine in there. Brands with a ton of SKUs, sporting goods, brands with multiple categories, outdoor living, hardware, gifting. Those are the different types of niches that this discovery plotline lends itself to. Let's look at a few in here. So just like this, right? More than just a box, Vices an adventure. They go, oh my goodness, another one. I want to be able to browse first before you give me this. Guys, come on. Okay. More than a box, Vices is adventure. Like straight up, it just tells you that this is about discovery. Even though, please don't be literal, even though I said that there was an adventure plot, there's no real physical adventure going on here. They're just trying to really inspire that. So anyway, I think one example is more than enough for this theme, or sorry, for this vibe. Let's move on to the next theme. Theme number 4: heart versus head. Self-explanatory. It really is about appealing to the heart. There are let's have a look here. There are three different vibes in here: love, temptation, and indulgence. And as I'm saying those words, even you can see how this is almost like the romantics portion of the show. So let's start talking about love. Love does not have to be lovey-dovey. Love, the vibe here, it can be like that, but more realistically, it's about potentially finding beauty in everyday life, caring, kindness, pouring love into the process, something that's bespoke, something that's given with care. That's the love plotline. The vibe and the focus here is to create that deep emotional connection with the audience and your customers. Really, it's all about evoking that sense of care and love, right? Highlighting how much care goes into your production process, into the customer experience. Products that have meaning, engagement rings, jewelry, self-care, maybe gifts, for example, home spa type products. Homeware also, art also sits in here. And bespoke products too. Like if it's handcrafted, this love and care can really be a very well suited plot line for vibe. Sorry, I keep using plot line. This is what happens when you're in film school for for a big part of your life and identified as a filmmaker for a big part of your life. This vibe suits that very well. And again, it does not have to be lovey-dovey. Let me show you some examples. I like this one. I like this theme a lot. This vibe a lot. Let's show you. Okay, let's go to the first one. Let's talk about socks. How about that? Like love and socks. We're Bombas. Sounds simple, but we're putting. Oh my goodness, guys! So many of these brands do this. All right, here we go. They're taking meaning and putting it into the meaning of love and care and all that, and putting into a pair of socks, right? Quality obsessed. This is what I mean about the care part, because the better your clothes are, the better you feel when doing just about anything. We sweat the small stuff. That's how much we care. That's how much love we are putting into the work that we do, the product that we put out. 100% happiness guaranteed. You see how it's not like lovey-dovey type of stuff. It's not like overly mushy in any type of way. Now, let's have a real quick look at, let's just go to their homepage and let's look at their socks. Let's look at their women's socks. Why not? Like you can see in here, it's just socks, but they stop being just a pair of socks, again, that are on Amazon, where you can choose a $4 pair, or here up to a $50 set of three, right? $13 for a pair of a set of one, because of the fact that they're putting that meaning into their product. And it also helps with the comeback rate, right? The buyback rate for customers to go, one, I like the product, but then also two, I love what they stand for. This is one example. Oh, actually, let's look at Parachute Home. What does Parachute Home do? Bedding, inserts, mattresses, etc. Home is everything to me. I create a parachute oh my goodness, again. All right, here we go. To bring more comfort through the world through premium accessible essentials. If you read this, you'll see that there are a few themes in here, right? Who couldn't find a single brand that was high quality, affordable, easy to shop. So there's a bit of revenge in here, but there's so much of that loyal community dedicated to comfort, that kind of care that goes into the messaging from a brand ethos standpoint, made with love by the world's best. It calls it out right there. Yeah. And you can see people actually, like, just photos of how it's made with love right there. Right. You don't see a lot of machinery and like big silver pieces of metal. It feels, look at that. Like there's a certain feel to it, a certain vibe where you go, wow, okay, cool. Even this right here, even though it's manufacturing, it's not cold in the background, as an example. The details make the difference. We care. It's thoughtful design. Social responsibility. We take care of each other. So there's that too. Hopefully you're getting the picture here when I'm talking about the love vibe. Okay, temptation. Temptation's all about, I really shouldn't, but I kind of wanna. Uh, this lends itself to indulgent products that aren't necessarily as healthy for you. They're not, and products to splurge on as well. Those are the niches that go in here: desserts, jewelry, intimate wear, anything where you can tempt people over. I've also, by the way, left you a link in the Notion doc, with a bunch of seductive, temptation filled ad campaigns that you can probably rip and get some ideas from, right? The point here is to tempt people to go, hey, you know what? Just maybe stop restricting yourself and liberate yourself just for this moment. Step through that door because you deserve it. Let's move on. The indulgence vibe. Uh, the indulgence vibe is about the experience itself, the pleasure of indulging your desires, the richness, the luxury of the experience of using your product or service. Now, this isn't exclusive, though, to any type of high-end product or luxurious type of brand. It can also be for specialist niches. So just think about it this way. It's you're going for the crowd where anything will do just isn't enough. They want the best of the best. They want to splurge and indulge. I don't want a guitar. I need a Fender, right? I don't want any old microphone. I want this one. Let's show you an example. This right here, yes, it's a vinyl store, right? They're selling vinyls. Now talk about audiophiles and music nerds. this really is about appealing to the people that love the quality of their sound so much that they want to get a vinyl, not just Spotify, which is dirt cheap as a subscription relative to vinyls, right? So that's what I mean by it can be specialist niches as well. Let me show you another one in here. Talk about indulgence. I mean, just look at all the imagery. You can say it's temptation, you can say it's indulgence, but just from the photos alone, my mouth is watering like crazy. And you can, I mean, look at the prices. This isn't exactly cheap. Let's decline the offer. Thank you very much for offering it to me, but I do not live in the United States. $109, $119, $129, right? So far, the first four are all three-figure AOV or three-figure um, deals. And then you kind of go into some other ones like $70 and $80. But point being, look at that. Like, you are indulging. This is not your paleo, vegan, clean living type of food. It really is about indulgence. And this entire vibe and website just covers that. So again, I'm sure just by looking at this, you can imagine quite vividly, if you had to be the marketing manager or someone working in the marketing team, what the copy, the angles, the creative, the concepts would be, right? So it goes so far beyond just this product is good, buy this product. Okay, we're at the final theme, symbols of status. This pulls the two vibes from this theme, pulls from storytelling, and they're called ascension and descension. So ascension would be something like a pauper to prince type story, right? Where they're ascending in society or ascending in stature. And descension is the other way around. So fall from grace. How does this translate to running a brand, especially the brand messaging positioning? Well, the ascension plot, the ascension vibe is all about rising up in status. So it's very much around the fact that it's inescapable that certain products, when worn, signal status, right? And signals that that person belongs in certain circles and does not belong in others. And so the way to communicate this really is through the setting, the environment, the backdrop, through creative, through art direction, and it's more subtle, right? It's through context, not through, you can't say something like, this is for rich people only, or this is for cool people only, right? As an example, Supreme, at one point, when you were wearing something from Supreme, it said a lot about you when you were in certain circles. And in certain other circles, it didn't mean anything whatsoever. But in the ones where it did mean something, it meant a lot. So that's one example. I think Apple is another one where it speaks to a certain status. There are a lot among you, I would imagine, that would rather be dead than caught with an Android phone, or vice versa, right? So New Balance, I think, is another example too, where it's just a pair of like kind of dad looking running shoes, but in Silicon Valley kind of circles, it became like a cult thing almost. So that's the way to, that's a way, that one vibe, to start to set the status, the chosen status, because the reality is status plays a lot into our purchasing decisions. So the Ascension one really is about that. Okay. So if you want to position yourself to be higher priced, if you want to position your brand to be more exclusive, if you want to exclusive does not mean high society. Exclusive might mean just like Supreme. It's for a certain select group of people only that are part of this type of cool. If you're out of it, you're out of it. You're not even on a radar to address you and talk to you. Okay. So that's the Ascension vibe. And the Descension vibe in this context is about relatability, using humor. We don't take ourselves too seriously. We're one of the guys, we're one of the gals. Relatability is a big keyword in here. Vulnerability even is another keyword that you can use. I think uh, the meme smack your face example of this is that recent documentary, that recent Jennifer Lopez documentary where she kept calling herself "I'm still Jenny from the block," and the entire internet just went, "We don't believe you at all." So that's poorly executed version of dissension. Great version of that would be Liquid Death, would be Cards Against Humanity, another really great one. Let's actually show you these examples. You can argue that, especially during the early days, Liquid Death had a very death metal type vibe, right? If you look at their logo, that's from the early days, and you look at it right now, so much of it, like it's leaning into cartoons. You go to their YouTube channel, half of their stuff, most of their stuff is absolutely hilarious. You got good old Burt Kreischer over here. Yeah, it's great. It's so genius in so many ways. And the genius of it is the fact that they were putting water into a can, and I'm preaching to the choir here, you know this. They're putting water into a can, and the positioning here is one, pay for water. Two, it's in a can, and three, it has death in the name of the brand and the product, right? But it was death against plastics, number one, and the number two is really taking a stance to then be able to break through and cut through so much noise so that it's not just, I'm just going to buy a bottled water, right? Yeah, absolutely amazing. And the fact that they were willing to go that way when everyone is zigging, and that's the sensible thing to do, they chose to zag. That's what's hard about this, is the fact that you have to really put your stake in the ground and stick to it. Of course, experiment, but to be able to hold true to that and say, this is exactly who we're for. Thinking like an artist, I guess, a music artist, to go, this is the music I'm making and this is who it's for. And sometimes you can have like genre crossovers. A lot of country stars move into pop, for example. Some rap artists are going to country. But when they first start, they know clearly who their audience is, right? I guess the Lady Gaga's version of Her Little Monsters. Very, very clear. Okay, anyway, let me show you another one. This one is also kind of funny. If you are living in the US, you might not know of this airline. They're called Ryanair. And talk about descension. They go full descension. They're very famous for they're very famous for roasting their customers. Worst hangover of my life, and I sat behind whoever this is for 3 hours. Cheers, Ryanair. And then they go, sounds like it's a you problem. Just straight up, right? Let's look for another one. Ryanair, loved my window seat. Thank you. Congrats, VIP. I can keep going forever, but the conservatives appear to delete their X account. Something went wrong is correct. Right. Hopefully you see where I'm going, where they're going with this. And again, imagine an airline, that level of seriousness of business, being able to do something like that. I think that if these larger brands that are backed by corporates, backed by like venture capital and tons of cash, and also full of corporates, can move in that direction. If you're owning a D2C brand yourself, you can definitely move in these directions too. So let's give you, it's not that I armed you with these. I think it's a good time for me to now ask you, number one, I really want to hear from you in the comments. What type of brand, plot line, and vibe are you setting? Do you even have one? And if so, what is it? If you have any struggles or challenges with articulating it, please let me know in the comments too. And if you like this, I think you should check out this other video where we show you how to suit your brand's messaging for each level of awareness for your consumers and customers. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.